Hi, Nursery. I have a story I wanted to read today, and it's called The Beeman. We've been talking about bees and what great community helpers they are when they pollinate the flowers and drop the pollen all around so more flowers can grow and the trees. And this book is about a man who takes care of bees in his own yard, and he has honeybees to make honey. What would we do without bees and honey? I love honey. So this is The Beeman by Lori Krebs and Valerie Siss. Let's get to that first page. And it's a little boy who's grandpa. It's about his grandpa. Here is my grandpa, who's known in our town as the Beeman. There's a lot of things a beeman needs to be able to do his job. Here is his jacket with zippered up hood that covers his face just the way that it should when he visits his hives as the beeman. You have to cover your whole body, Nursery, because what can bees do? They can sting. Here are his gloves made of cotton and leather, protecting his hands in all kind of weather when he tends to his hives as the beeman. Usually if someone has a beehive at their house, they don't keep it close to their house. It's a little farther away, way backyard. So look at that. It looks like they had to walk far back. Wow, he doesn't have just one beehive, Nursery. Can you count how many he has? How many do you see? One, wrong way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here is the beehive where all the bees sleep, tucked into a box called a shallow or deep. It's called a shallow, and then placed on a stand by the beeman. So there's little stands on them, Nursery. They don't sit directly on the ground. Oh, look at how careful he's being. Here is the smoker that quiets the bees and a hive tool that opens the beehive with ease. For the much closer look by the beeman. So he's got special tools he needs to use. Can't just go over and open it with your hands. He has that special tool that he's holding to help open up. And he's holding the smoker. And that puts a little smoke. I guess smoke will quiet down the bees so they're not buzzing all around. Here is the queen bee. Do you want to guess which one she is? The really big one, who does her job well and lays tiny eggs in a 6-sided cell. She's the heart of the hive, says the beeman. So each little cell, Nursery, on a beehive has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It has 6 sides. Here are the drone bees with big bulging eyes and a large appetite supporting their size. They mate with the queen, adds the beeman. Here are the workers, 10,000 or more, who gather the nectar to bring back and store in honeycomb cells for the beeman. So all those worker bees, the drone bees, they go out and they're the ones who collect the pollen. They help protect the hive. Here are the house bees with swift-moving wings that dry up the nectar a worker bee brings, making honey for me and the beeman. Here's the extractor. It's clickety-clack, removing the honey from frames on its rack and filling up jars for the beeman. So they took all that honeycomb, and the honey is inside the cells, and now they have to extract the honey. They have to take the honey out from the honeycomb, and it's going to fill all these jars. Here's some of the honey. Return to the hive. It's food for the bees to help them survive the long winter days near the Beeman. Well, now that's tiger pride. They extracted all that honey, and they brought some of the honey back to the beehives so the bees would have it too for the winter. Here are the bees, protected from harm, inside the hive, huddled cozy and warm. So they'll be here next year, says the bee man. Looks like it's going to be winter, and they wrapped them up so the bees stay cozy. We don't see bees in the wintertime. They stay in their hive. Here is the wagon, filled up to the brim with bottles of honey collected by him and brought to the house by the bee man. Wow, what do you think they'll do with all that honey? Will they share it? Here are the muffins, all warm and delicious and dripping with honey on Grandma's best dishes. Lots of recipes you can use honey in. Makes delicious food. His grandmother made some muffins. I'm glad my grandpa's the bee man. And even in this book, it tells you some lots of different information all about bees because they're so important, nursery. They really are. They're community helpers. And it can tell you all about beekeeping. Do you remember that? That was the smoker to help quiet the bees. And there was his tool to help open. There's the honeycomb and the extractor. That was a big word. Where are those bees? Oh, and at the end, it even, such tiger pride to share, it even gives you a recipe for Grandma's apple and honey muffins that you can bake with. Bees are important, as well as beekeepers. I hope you enjoyed the Bee Man.